Well, hello, Soul Fam. It's Sundar from Substance Over Style, and welcome to a new video. So, I posted this post, which you can't see, but I will drop it in if I can figure out how to use my new video editing software. But I posted this on my stories yesterday. It's a post from the Instagram account Wild Divine Feminine, and it says, excuse me, can we autofocus for a second? Okay. Dear women, any attachment to the mortal male is like a quicksand into suffocation. Union with the immortal, multidimensional divine masculine is the only true sanctuary. She who focuses on a mortal confined within the constructs of finite consciousness will reap the fruits of mortality. She who returns to the immortal male realizes the true meaning of love. Your true masculine polarity loves you beyond anything the mind can comprehend, and there are no doubts about it, regardless of what the mortal male incarnate has been playing out. She who unifies with the true immortal masculine is the keeper of the sacred code that the mortal, ready to reclaim his divine crown, recognizes in her eyes, in her voice, feels it within her essence. She is the mirror and the I don't know what's going on with my camera right now, but that's by Avatara Ananda. So I posted that on my stories, and I said, this is what I mean by healing your relationship with your inner masculine, and how that will reflect in your relationships with the outer masculine, so the men that show up in your life, or if you're LGBT, if you're a feminine energy woman and you have relationships with women or non-binary people who occupy the more masculine end of the spectrum, then those would be the masculines that show up in your life. Or if you're a gay man and you're the more feminine end of the spectrum, then the men that you date. So just to be completely inclusive. So this is not limited to just heterosexual relationships. So what else did I say? If you have a fractured relationship with your father, it will microcosmically affect your relationship with men and macrocosmically affect your relationship with God. And I said, want to know more? And I got 93%. This is the video that you all requested, so we're going to get into it. Okay, so what do we mean by the mortal male? We mean men in the real world rather than the inner masculine. Now, your inner masculine is basically the God that shines through you. Your inner feminine is the goddess that shines through you. And the goddess shines through every single woman and man, because all people have masculine and feminine energies within themselves. And the God also shines, the masculine God also shines through every woman and man and non-binary individual. So healing your relationship with both the feminine or the goddess within and or the God within will actually heal your relationships, your intimate partner relationships. Now, I've talked in my videos before about the 7 cosmic mirrors of the ancient Essenes. Now, if you haven't heard of the ancient Essenes, the Essenes were basically Yeshua and Mary Magdalene's crew, commonly known as Jesus. So they were basically an ancient Hebrew people. And they believed in this idea called the 7 different cosmic mirrors, that everyone who shows up in your life is reflecting back an aspect of you. And there are 7 different mirrors. The second mirror is that which you judge. The third is that which you lost, had taken from you, or gave away. And there are also 2 mirrors that reflect your relationship with your mother and your father, and they will also macrocosmically reflect your relationship with Heavenly Father and Mother Earth, or the Great Cosmic Mother. I'm not going to get too deep on how those different dimensions between the Earth and the Heavenly Mother work, because that's kind of getting really esoteric right now, and I don't want to kind of go off on a tangent. But what can often happen is, if you have a fractured relationship with one of your parents, usually if you're more feminine energy and your fractured relationship is with your father, then that will generally show up more in your relationships. But it can also be, if you're a woman and you have a fractured relationship with your mother, if that was the more difficult relationship for you, then that is the relationship that might, those are the patterns that might continue to show up in your relationships with men, because your inner state is being reflected externally in your relationships, because your relationship showing you your inner wounding that you need to reintegrate and heal. So what is she talking about? Not getting attached to the mortal male. She's talking about the idea that even though God shines through every man and woman, that the divine shines through everyone, and love is unconditional, do not get attached to one person. Hold your standards and your boundaries, because by embodying the divine masculine, the divine masculine is all about having boundaries. I talked about this in my video, the toxic feminine, or the wounded feminine. So you should have a look at that one as well. Know what's good for you and what isn't. So, like for example, if you had a father that was absent, so let's say your father was unavailable or he abandoned you and your family, you might find yourself continually being attracted to men who abandon you or men who are emotionally unavailable, because this is reflecting firstly your beliefs about the masculine. What you believe about the masculine, you will continue to accept, because if you believe that the masculine is good and is loving, and love looks like emotional availability and being honest and being healthy and a regular amount of contact, the emotionally unavailable guys, or the guys that abandon you, won't even be on your radar. You would recognize that as something healthy, and you would not have that vibrational point of attraction that draws you to that person to heal that wounding. Sorry, my camera keeps on messing up. I really don't know. This is why I've been recording so many videos on my phone recently. Now, because you know that the divine shines through every man, and your connection is with your own internal masculine that connects you directly to your Heavenly Father, you will have an abundance mindset when it comes to men, and you will know when to hold your standards and your boundaries and walk away from whatever particular man is violating your standards and boundaries, and you'll know that there's better for you out there. So that's what it means by connecting to the immortal male, the immortal masculine, the idea that that is going to show up and love you as you deserve to be loved. And you can only know what this looks like when you have learned to love yourself unconditionally. So that, shadow work is really, really essential for that. I've talked about that in my previous videos. A really good one for that is integrating the shadow. So yes, let's say for example you had a father, or let's say you had a mother, even if you're a man, and you had a mother that kept on cheating on your father, or vice versa. So that will implant a belief system in your consciousness that tells you that women or men are always unfaithful, that we're maybe naturally unfaithful. So not only will that cause you to be magnetically attracted to people who are going to hurt you in this way and who are going to repeat this wounding so that you can see the pattern and heal it, you will also accept this kind of behavior because of your beliefs about men or women, your belief that they naturally cheat. So you will not seek better because you think, well, this is the best that I can get. So it's really, really key to heal those belief systems. Now, how do we go about healing those belief systems? Firstly, you need to identify the pattern. So if you find yourself getting into relationships with people and the same pattern keeps on repeating itself, like let's say, for example, you keep on getting into patterns with men that are narcissistic, or men that repeatedly lie to you, that's the pattern that you need to reintegrate. So like the video that I created about when you get triggered, do this, That's a meditation that you can do for inner child healing. You can also use that technique for this. You can kind of do breath work, put yourself into a relaxed theta state, and you can ask your higher self to show you, where did this subconscious belief system about men or about the masculine, that they're always lying, for example, where did it first get implanted? And the first thing that comes up in your memory, you might not think that this is actually it, because sometimes these things are so buried within our subconscious that we don't understand how they get implanted. The first memory, just go with that, and then go into the memory, explore it with your imagination, and ask it to show you how created that belief system that men are always lying to you. And then what you can do is you can turn it on its head. So you can say, okay, what you do is you create an affirmation. You create an affirmation that gives you a new belief system. So say for example, I now know and trust that there are honest men out there, and I deserve a man who is going to be honest and truthful with me. And in order to do this, you actually have to be able to receive a man's truth. So you also have to integrate your shadows around masculinity. So this is like, it's not an overnight process, and there can be many layers to it. So, if you're not ready to receive a man's truth, like say for example you have shadows around male sexuality, for example, it's really important for you to integrate your shadows around your own sexuality, but also around male sexuality. So for me, I needed to personally, I had a lot of shadows around male sexuality, and felt that men were perverts, that they were obsessed with sex. Why are they so disgusting? Like, why is there so much sexual violence? A lot of triggers around sexual violence and about porn culture, the sex industry, all of that stuff. And I had to reintegrate a lot of those woundings around masculine sexuality by understanding that these were just a distortion of their craving for feminine energy and the power of feminine energy. I didn't understand the power of feminine energy at that time. I now understand much better now that feminine creative sexual energy is life force. It generates everything in this universe, and it's extremely powerful, and it's also extremely healing. And that's why the masculine energy needs it so much, to balance them out and also to heal them. So when women are disconnected from their own life force energy and their own sexuality, and have shadows around their sexuality, they're going to also project some of those shadows and those woundings at men, and men are then also going to become disconnected from the goddess within as well. Anyway, I hope that makes sense to you. I don't want to go on too many different tangents, because this topic I feel can get quite deep. But if you have any questions, then leave them in the comment box below. And if you want any personal advice about your situation and how it relates to these topics, then feel free to send me a DM on Instagram. Personal consultations now as well. So feel free to reach out. I'm here to help. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and I will love you and leave you. If you have any suggestions for other video topics you'd like me to cover, then leave them in the comment box below, and I will see you in the next video. Peace out.